What is going on? How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Happy Sunday, Mr. Chris Anthony Lopez. As you can see on screen with me, how are you doing this Sunday?
I'm doing great, big dog. I'm out here hanging out. I have a little wine ski off to the side, so if you see me sipping on some Pinot, but we're here. We're here hanging out, talking some Black Panther, and I'm excited. I've had some time to sit on this movie for a minute, but I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to chatting about it.
yeah, for sure. We both saw it on Thursday night, opening night. We're
Hmm.
obviously not privileged to go to like world premieres or something like that.
Not
Like
yet.
not yet, but we will get eventually get there. Um, but we both did see it Thursday night. I went with my children, and obviously you went with your children. Or wait, you didn't have
Yeah,
kids.
I
Never mind.
went with my kid, me, myself, and I.
There you
Like,
go. And we both saw the movie, and now we're here to talk about it because we did talk about when the trailer had came out. We got together
yes.
and we talked about it, and that video is on this channel. If you want
Hmm.
to check that out and see how much of we got wrong. So I think we got pretty much everything wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely wanted to come and talk about this movie with you because obviously I enjoy talking movies with you, but also because we had talked about it together, the
Hmm.
trailer. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit of non spoiler first, and then we'll get into spoilers. But first, we'll do a little housekeeping. Obviously, please like, subscribe, comment on the video. If you want to see different things, more stuff like this, more of Chris, there is a Stream Elements link. You can send in questions. You can donate to support the channel. That money goes to supporting Chris and getting him his drinks. That's the only way he comes on to hang out
My
with me.
cheap wine, yes.
Yeah, I gotta buy him box wine. So some Carlos Rossi. I gotta get him the handle. So
Yeah, dog.
if you wanna help support the channel, there's that stream elements. Send in. Now you can ask a question, and obviously you can ask questions in the chat. We'll answer them. But
Mhm.
if you feel in your heart you want to support the channel, do that. Like I said, like, subscribe, and comment. And I have another show on here, which is the Steel's Conspiracy on Tuesdays with Garnett West talking Steelers and Ravens. Unfortunately, this week Garnett won't be here, so I'll be with Hendo, my man Hendo. We'll be talking Ravens and Steelers, so come and hang out with us on Tuesday. And just thank you for the support, everybody being here and hanging out. Really appreciate you. So let's get into the non-spoiler part of Black Panther. And I'll ask you first, Chris. What
Yeah.
was your thoughts um, when you first saw the movie? As far and like I said, we'll get into spoilers in a minute.
Yeah.
What was just your overall thoughts of the movie?
So overall, with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, right? And I'll say this off rip that this movie I feel like is going to be hard to talk about, and I've said it before and stuff, and I'll say it again. Like this movie, there's going to be this aura around it because of the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman. So it's going to be this combination of oh my god, let's mourn the death of this real life person as well as his character, alongside there being the actual film. And some folks may interpret it just as a movie, some folks may interpret it just as a tribute, and all power to either side. I'm not here to critique how people view movies are subjective. We view them as we wish. But for me, with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, this movie is good. It's good. Is it my favorite thing from Phase 4? No. Is it my favorite Black Panther movie? No. It's it's a beautiful tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And as much as I love some of these characters and some new introductions into this universe and into the story, I I really had a hard time in the back half of the film, and we'll get to that when we talk about all the spoilers and stuff. But I didn't love this movie as much as other people did. But there are certain elements which I adore. Namor being my far and away standout. It's not even close. And Riri Williams and her role in this film is fantastic. I love the performances in the movie. Letitia Wright, Angela Bassett, and Tenyo Chuerta, to be just to pinpoint a couple. They're all great. And shout out to Winston Duke. No one's talking about him as much as they should be. I love M'Baku in this movie. But it is Ryan Coogler trying to balance a tribute slash memorial to a beloved man and to a beloved character while also trying to tell a Marvel movie story. And sometimes it succeeds and sometimes it doesn't. So it really just depends on how folks want to look at it. But it's good. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't good.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. This movie was very good. And I 100%, you're right that this movie, people need to understand that that when this movie was announced or this movie was in process, Chadwick was alive,
Mm-hmm.
and and Ryan Coogler had this story he wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we didn't know what was going on with Chadwick. He
Right.
passed away, and Ryan had to completely take that script and change the whole story. Um, do I think Namor was going to be a part of it? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Which got me excited because what you saw on screen, could you imagine seeing that with Chadwick's Black Panther? It would have been
Nah,
amazing.
don't. Yeah, it'd been
Yeah, it
great.
would have been amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
from that aspect, this movie, you're right. It was a balancing act for Ryan Coogler to take it and kind of make it something new,
Mm-hmm.
all while also dealing with real life issues.
Right.
The passing of somebody dear to this franchise,
Right.
and I think he did a great job doing that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
did he make a good Marvel movie? I think he did. I think he made a really good Marvel movie, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to. The problem with this movie, in the sense of how people are going to view it, is the emotions that you had for because I was saying this to a friend of mine. Right now, I put Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther and himself up there with Chris Evans, Captain America, Iron Man, Tony Stark, Robert Downey
Okay.
Jr.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is on that level.
Yeah.
And when he passed, it really hurt. And there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of talk of should he be recast? Do
Mm-hmm.
they just pass the mantle to somebody else? And I have a real big thing about what happened when we get into the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it sucked that this happened to him because there's so, like I just said right now. Could you imagine have seen him interact with Namor? Like uh, it would have been so dope. So it's hard to separate the emotion from this movie. Like you can't look at it and say, okay, let's take the emotion out of it.
It's a
This is
plot
cool.
point. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't.
it's
You
you
can't
can't do it.
like. Yeah.
You can't do it. So you have to take it for what it is. It's a
Right.
very emotional, very enduring, very like you said, tribute to Chadwick Boseman, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I loved about it. Some of the
Right.
other things that I didn't care for, or it just had an issue with storytelling wise, it was little things, but then again, like I said in the beginning, Ryan Coogler had a script ready, and he had to make a left turn, a right turn from it, and redo the script. So what we got was what he was able to put together, and it still was good. It's going to make the money because people are going to support it.
Totally.
They're gonna,
Yeah.
they're gonna, it's going to make the money, but it's still a
Mm-hmm.
good movie. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people were worried, and I know a lot of people are out there giving 10 for 10s and everything, and that's fine. That is their
Yeah. That's sort of
prerogative to
thing.
give
Mm-hmm.
that 10, but they're looking at it from, like I said, a very emotional standpoint. I got very emotional with this movie because I like Chadwick Boseman, and I
Mm-hmm.
like and yeah, exactly, no way. You know, I like
Mm-hmm.
Chadwick Boseman, so I got
Mm-hmm.
very emotional about this movie. And there's a lot of people very emotionally invested, very invested into the story. So they
Mm-hmm.
can view it how they want, and I hope they enjoy that. But at the same time, you do have to kind of step back a little bit and really view the whole thing. And when you view the whole thing, it is still a good Marvel movie. It is still a good
Yeah.
movie, and it's an excellent tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And they did a lot of great things in here. There's very few minimal things I didn't like about the movie, but they
Okay.
did there's a lot of great things they did here, and we'll talk about them, including, like you said, the introduction to Namor, who
Mm-hmm.
is so dope, and so
Mm-hmm.
how they introduced him, and then he said the infamous M word, That's a
Yes.
little bit of spoiler, but he said the infamous M word. I was going to
Hmm.
say N word, not the N word,
Not
the M
no,
word.
definitely not. Not that.
The M word.
The M word.
He
Yes.
says the M word, and
Hmm.
it kicks off a lot of cool things in the story, um, and I'm very excited. So I give a lot of praise to Ryan Coogler, man. And we'll get into this later. But a lot of people are calling for him to direct Secret Wars, and I think he
Yeah.
deserves that. I think he
Hmm.
deserves that shot. Do I want some kind of input from some other people to help him? 100%. I think he's a great storyteller, character wise, things like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
The action, and shout out to Bronny for
Oh,
donating.
Brodney,
He
my
he
man.
he he says always happy to see the dream team together. Thank you, Bronny.
Much love, brother.
Appreciate it. Um, I think that Coogler can make a great Avengers movie.
Totally.
Characters, I think he would do so well. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping he gets that opportunity. We do know King Dynasty is being directed by the person that did Shang Chi. Was it? Am I
I
correct?
believe his name is Daniel Destin Cretton. I think
Yeah.
that's his name.
So we already got Avengers King Dynasty down. Why not give Cooler a shot at the
Destin Daniel Cretton, excuse me.
okay, give
Destin
him a
Daniel
shot
Cretton.
at Secret Wars, because I think Secret Wars would be a good opportunity for him. And then you bring the Russo brothers back for whatever big other Avenger movie that's supposed to
Yeah. Hmm.
come along. So we will see. Now visually though, Chris, was this movie not amazing?
So okay, I know in I rewatched the first Black Panther movie a few days ago, just so
Mhm.
I can like refresh my brain of it, and I know this isn't a popular or this isn't like a unpopular take or anything. I'm not the only person complaining about this still, but that third act of Black Panther, the first film, 2018, excuse me. I'm still so bothered by the CGI fight with Killmonger and T'Challa. It really bothers me still because like everything else in the movie is so cool, the fights are so rad, but then there's that, and it's just a CGI mess in a vibranium cave, and I'm like, oh god, like this is like okay, cool, whatever. This movie, there's some shoddy CGI, sure, but I think for the most part, it looks very, very good. Talocan, the 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 Namor's kingdom, essentially the underwater city that he has taken reign over, is super well just executed. It's hard to do like Atlantis or Atlantis type things without it looking like legitimately everything else we've seen. All underwater cities look the same, whether
Yeah.
it's Little Mermaid, Aquaman, all that shit looks the same, right? In this, they play with things a little bit differently. And while yes, it's still underwater city, we got to see in pockets how like these little community aspects, and I kind of wish we got to spend more time in it because it's beautiful to look at,
Yeah.
and the lore behind Talocan that is explained in the movie, I buy it 100%. And again,
Yeah.
I I credit Ryan Coogler, and like in the first film, he had the task of establishing Wakanda as this big secret city or secret country or secret nation, really. And you had to get us like familiarized to all these characters already, like right off the bat, because these are all gonna be major players in Marvel movies going forward, while also establishing this city is advanced in X, Y, and Z ways. You had to almost do that with Alocan. It just wasn't our primary setting. We didn't get to spend too much time in it. But I love the effects and how it was all done. I love all the Namor stuff. The new Black Panther suit, I think looked awesome. I think it looks very, very cool. Like some of the CGI kind of got a little crazy at points, but it wasn't as crazy as the third act of the first Black Panther movie, and I appreciated that. Like
Yeah.
that's something I would put in like the pros column. Like this movie looks good. It looks
Yeah.
good. I can't complain too much about how it looks.
Yeah, I know people are going to complain about some of the stuff, and we'll get into those spoilers in a minute. Maybe that has to do with Williams, Ironheart.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yes.
and I actually
Mhm.
enjoyed that. And we'll talk about what we're talking
We'll
about. But
chat more about Riri. Yeah,
I actually
it's
liked
hard not to talk about Riri without spoiling the character, or it's hard to talk about
absolutely,
Riri without spoiling portions of the movie. Just
yeah,
Dominique Thorne crushes it though.
absolutely
I think
loved
she's
her,
great. I think she's
loved her.
awesome. So red.
I don't think there's any bad acting in the movie.
No,
Um,
no.
there's a funny line that was so corny in the movie, but it made me laugh so hard. That has to do with Riri. Said it was corny as hell, but it made me laugh so hard when they said it. And we'll get into that because it is a spoiler. But yeah, I think visually this movie was beautiful, especially
Mhm.
the opening. Not the open, sorry, not the opening, but the part after the opening because the opening is very crazy. It's just the part after that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. That part was very beautiful, um, and as you like you said, go into Telecon, and you see the cave where they're in the cave and how they did it, and then how they proceeded underwater. Because you're right, being underwater, the when they introduce Namor, when you don't actually see him, but you see him do something, but you don't see him, and they're underwater. That freaked me out because how dark it was and everything when the lights cut off
Yes.
and
Hmm.
everything like that. And we'll get into that spoiler. That freaked me out. So when you go to Telecon, I was like, dude, how are they gonna? And then they show what they show, and you're like, oh wow, that's dope. And you're right, it world builds because he tells you what that is. He tells you why, and visually why you see it the way you do. So I love the what Ryan Coogler did with that. I think everything was awesome. Like you said, the CGI. I actually didn't have a problem with the CGI in this movie. The bad.
There's a one thing that I have an issue with, but again,
Okay.
spoilers. I won't mention it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get into spoilers right now, and I'm gonna start off with this spoiler because I want to get your thoughts. So real quick, get ready. Spoilers for
We're
Black Panther.
spoiling Black Panther:
Yeah.
Wakanda
So
Forever.
if you haven't seen it, please come back to this video. If you don't care about spoilers, then no problem. But Chris, the first spoiler
Yes.
of the movie.
Oh, by the way, um, if I had to rate this movie, I say 3.5 out of 5 for the record.
Okay, I did 8 out of 10. So well, but we're right there.
Mine's
I think we're in the
I've
same.
flown around a 7. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So for you personally, how
yes.
did they handle T'Challa's death slash Chadwick Boseman's death? How did you view that and how it was handled?
This this might sound a little morbid, but it was beautifully done. Um, I I appreciate the and again, spoilers for those who haven't seen it. I see Rodney just left the chat. I appreciate you, Rodney, for coming and hanging out for a minute and the donation. But again, spoilers. I'm just gonna go nuts now. The film opens like, "Hey,
Crazy.
T'Challa's dying," and it wasn't what I anticipated, and we essentially got to hear the character's heart stop beating, and you see the reactions of Shuri and Ramonda, and these people lose their king, their son, their brother, and they and we lose Black Panther alongside the real life parallels of us losing Chadwick Boseman so abruptly. Kind of, it just happened, right? News broke out one day. I will never forget where I was at. I will never forget it because I was awestruck about where the future of um like this was just it happened, right? And this is an actor who was really on the come up. Yeah, he'd been around for a minute, but he was reaching superstardom with this character. And then the character passed away, or he passed away, and people were raising questions about the character once we ended our mourning period and we started thinking about the future of this big franchise he just joined, and he couldn't get a sequel, and they still went along with it, and it was beautifully done. It was not only us saying goodbye to T'Challa, but it was us saying goodbye to Chadwick Boseman. And my buddy Sean Wingblade, who was in the chat a little bit ago, shout out to Sean. He said that the movie almost had too much of a tribute to him, that it kind of like took away from points because it got a little excessive. Um, and that's where I get kind of lost in the whole Marvel part of this. I don't like, yes, we have Namor and we have all this fun stuff, right? But I'm just, this movie is a love letter to him.
Yeah.
The entire thing. His legacy, what he meant to the characters, what he meant to the actors, what he meant to us as fans, from start to finish. This was his film. This is for him. And I thought it was beautifully done. The tributes to him. Now, everything around it and the other characters and their arcs in the film, I had issues with. The exception of Namor, because he's perfect. But everything else, I might have had a problem with. But this movie was for T'Challa, for Chadwick Boseman, and I thought it was very well done. Can't be mad at it.
Yeah, for sure, and I completely agree with you. I did. I know people have said that they had an issue of how it starts off, because that was very triggering. The
Yeah.
way it starts off,
Mm-hmm.
it's very it right off the bat. Shuri's in the lab and they're freaking out, and she's talking about how T'Challa's is sick, and she's trying to figure out a way to save him, and she's trying to grow the heart shaped herb in a 3D printer, which was kind of interesting, basically. But it was
Yeah, she was
essentially
trying to
a
redo the
the
heart
heart shape,
shaper.
yeah.
Yep.
And she wasn't getting the success rate didn't need it. It was like at 23% or something.
Yeah.
And she's asking about her mother's heart rate. Fast forward to a conversation she has with Namor, which was very powerful, where she tells him, "My brother suffered without telling anybody, and we couldn't do anything about it."
Yep.
That is an exact correlation to what happened to Chadwick. The fact that we did not know that he had cancer and was
Yep.
suffering from it, where he could have possibly been suffering from it while filming Endgame, Infinity War, all these all
Yeah.
those movies,
So, yeah, it could have been.
and we didn't know about it, and then he suddenly passes, and that I felt that. Um, and like I said in the non spoiler part, I do feel people are going to be overly emotional for this movie because of the passing of Chadwick. So I think
Hmm.
they're overlooking some of the flaws of the movie, which is
Sure.
perfectly fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, and they're not bad flaws. It's not like it's a bad movie and people are just giving the excuse that it's a great movie because of Chadwick. No, it's a good movie, and a lot of people are saying it's a great movie, but I think they're doing that in the sense because of the passing of Chadwick, so they're overcompensating, and that's fine. But I still think it's a good movie and it's a good Marvel movie. But I do feel where you're coming from when they said that you think they did it overdid it a little bit. Now,
And I mean, I was more so just saying my buddy's point, in regards to the juxtaposition of how I thought it was done, right? Like, there are going to be two different, and I'm not saying he's wrong. He's more than valid to think that. And like what you said is also correct. Like, there could be folks who watch this movie and they judge it solely based on their feelings towards Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa, because that character meant a ton to a lot of people. Black Panther had been around Marvel Comics for decades, and when the 2018 film came out, it broke all. It was one of the highest grossing movies domestically and internationally for the year, and it was this big revelation that folks were introduced to this brand new character for the first time, and they fell in love with him. They fell in love with Chadwick by proxy, and then we lost him a couple years later. Like, we didn't get to spend too much time with him. Yeah, the character popped up in four movies,
yeah, Civil
four
War,
movies,
Infinity War,
and both the
and
Avengers
and,
movies, and so Civil
and
War, Infinity War, Endgame, and Black Panther, right?
yeah,
So popped up four times. We didn't, and yeah, that's four movies, but we didn't get to spend too much time with him. And especially when we get four Thor movies and three Captain America movies, we got one with Chadwick Boseman, and that's the bummer. That's the downside to all this. So I'm not gonna sit here and poo poo people's 2 cents because they want to give this movie a 10 out of 10 because it made them cry, or that Chadwick meant a lot to them. That's great. That's and I'm not going to sit here and do that. Now, while I was incredibly bummed, especially in the opening of the film, that we got to see the whole funeral scene, that we got to see in the trailers a ton. Like, they wasted no time getting to that, and I was like, okay, like that's what we're doing. But the second that was done, I'm like, let me see. I want to see where they go. How do you follow up on this?
Yeah.
And that's where I get lost in the sauce, especially with Shuri's character in this movie. I get very lost in that. And when we talk about her, I'll elaborate more so on it. But we're gonna miss Chadwick, and this universe is gonna miss T'Challa. And I still stand by Marvel and them not recasting. I I don't think they made a
So
mistake.
so let me give you a thought about this. Marvel did the best they could, but they actually did what both camps wanted. If you think about it this way, and this will go into a spoiler of the end of the movie first. They didn't recast T'Challa and Chadwick's character, but they then did recreate and recast him in the sense because they brought his son. So we're gonna have a
Right.
T'Challa in this universe. Now it's T'Challa the second, I believe he said his name was T'Challa the second, or Junior, whatever you want to. I think it's the second he said.
Something like
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, but now Marvel can now creatively can recast the Black Panther, and it can now be a younger Black Panther. So you'll still have Shuri. You can add Shuri to the Young Avengers if they go with that storyline and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But now you can go and look for an actor that's 18, 19, and you
Okay.
can now say, here is the new Black Panther. It is T'Challa. And so Marvel effectively did what both camps wanted. They recasted him, and then they didn't recast, they didn't replace him, because that T'Challa is still in this universe but has passed away. And now you have the new T'Challa and the new Black Panther recast with the new actor. And
Can
so
I?
you've done what both camps wanted. Go ahead.
I really hope you're wrong.
I really hope
And
I'm wrong. Okay.
I don't. And this isn't me. Like, I thought the end credit scene was stunning. It was beautiful. It was a great bookend to this, to the memorial process, to the final stage of grieving, the acceptance part of all of this. Right. It was beautiful. I thought it was, and I don't want to be. I hate being that guy, but I kind of had an idea that Nakia had a baby with him, because like she was just absent, and they how they explained her not being around after Thanos. I was like, I was like, okay, cool. I had the thought popped in my brain, but I didn't think too hard on it. So when the kid came up, I'm like, oh, okay, great. And the kid's probably like 6. Am I the only one that just interpreted that as there's a T'Challa in this universe? It's this kid, and he's not going to be Black Panther anytime soon. Like,
No,
sure, if we have Black
yeah,
Panther and stuff, it'll be Shuri.
yeah, yeah.
It like
No,
it, we
my
I
point.
don't want to see,
You don't want
like,
to see a
because this
timeline.
kid's 6, so
Yeah, you don't
like
want to
in
see. You don't want
10
to see
years,
a 15-year. Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
see a
see a 15-year-old
10.
Black
Yeah,
Panther.
yeah. No, no.
I'd
I
rather
totally
have
understand what
Shuri
you're.
keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And I agree with you. What my point was is, like you said, when Chadwick passed away, where was this character now going to go? We didn't know. Now,
Right.
essentially, what you've done is not only because Chadwick at the time, he was, he's older, so he wasn't young, so he could only play this character for so long. But
Sure.
now
Yeah.
with what you've done is you've still kept Chadwick's T'Challa in the universe, but he passed away. And now you've recast and made up a new character with the same name that can now take over the mantle later down the line. So now he can be in all the future projects, or you can have Shuri be in the future projects, like
But
down the line, like down the line. You
so
can
like
have,
20 years, like, because again, like
depending how
this.
long, yeah, depending how long Marvel goes. But if you think about it now let's say they go into let's say they come out with Black Panther 3, and
Mhm.
it's still Shuri, but in this movie now T'Challa the second is 12, 13. and he wants to take the mantle, but he's not old enough yet. He has to go through those trials and tribulations.
No.
Then you get into an Avenger movie, and Shuri's there, and now he's like 15, 16, and he's still, he's
Mm.
still, that, and that's where and then eventually you can get him into the Avengers where he takes over. Because right now, and this is another spoiler, um, they don't have a ruler. You know,
Yeah,
um,
there's no king or
and
queen
and the
of
last thing we
Wakanda.
saw was M'Baku was gonna challenge for, challenge
The throne.
for the throne.
Hmm.
So, down the line, do you add that to the movie where T'Challa the second now challenges M'Baku to take the throne when he, as a young age, or in his late early 20s, things like that. So it expands the time of Black Panther to be in more
Sure.
movies.
And
That's all I'm saying.
no,
It's
and I see what you're talking about, but like I kind of interpreted the scene as we have a T'Challa. He's still in our universe, but he's a child.
yeah,
And so he's there to say he's there. That T'Challa will forever be in Marvel. That T'Challa is in our hearts. He's in Marvel because they took him out of Wakanda on purpose. They didn't want him around all of that. And that was T'Challa's like thing. T'Challa and Nakia were like, let's take the kid out of Wakanda so he doesn't have to face the pressures of the throne or of being the son of the king or whatever. And I kind of just want my issues with Shuri in this movie aside, if we get more Black Panther over the next few years, especially going into the Avengers films we're getting in 2025, I rather it just be Shuri, and that's maybe we'll bring the kid back later, but I don't want this to be hey, we're sending you up to be Black Panther and you're 15. Cause like at that point, that's so much time that we're gonna be
it's a big time
jumping.
jump. Yeah. So so
And
so King Dynasty rolls around and he's 20, and you're gonna be like, what the
it's like,
fuck?
what the like are you and this
Yeah.
is and my counterpoint to that, and I don't want to speculate too much on future things yet, but as if I already haven't been. But I think we're gonna get Black Panther variants in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. I really think so. And maybe that's your time to show us an adult Black Panther. It's T'Challa, but it looks like, I don't know, Denzel Washington. Like it's an older King T'Challa or King whatever.
Yeah.
And like that's it. Boom. Little cameo. Bang. Next. Doesn't stick around. He's from Earth 179. Like, like just we don't need to keep these characters around. But Shuri is our Black Panther going forward. Like
Gotcha.
I don't want this to be, hey, we
You
introduce
don't
this
want to be a one and
kid.
done it for her. You don't want it to be a
Yeah,
one
like
and
I don't
done.
want to introduce this kid or have Shuri's entire arc be, yes, let's train you to be the next Black Panther. Like her whole arc in this movie was like to try to be like to take the example of her brother, even though she's full of all this anger and hate and vengeance, but she wants to be just like her brother. And if her arc takes her to, oh, let me train the kid, then all right, whatever, I'll cry about it later. But I want her to just keep growing. She's still a relatively young character. I
Yeah.
believe she got dusted. So in universe, she's what, her early 20s at the oldest?
Well, I think in Black Panther 1, wasn't she only like 16, 17
She
or
was
something like that?
young. Yeah.
So she's about 22, 23 right now.
At the oldest, right?
So
Like
probably in Infinity War, she's at like 19. She's Riri's age,
something like that. Like
and then she gets
it's
dusted. She gets dusted. So
and they do the time jump in the movie, and like there's like whatever, right?
yeah.
But
So she's in her early
I
20s,
want
mid.
Shuri to stick around and maybe actually
Yeah.
be the character, as long as her character grows and actually like isn't a dick in future installments like how she is in this movie in half the time. I'm gonna just rip the band-aid off now because I'm gonna keep dancing around this until we bring it
What?
up.
Okay, well, hold up. Let's bring it up then now. Shuri's arc.
I
Let's
didn't
go.
like Shuri in the third act of this movie. I didn't.
Okay.
um i I this is my biggest problem with this movie was the third act. Not because it looked bad or the CGI is bad, none of that. It just doesn't make sense to me. It didn't make any sense. And it started with um So I don't mean to laugh at this, but I can't help. This is so ridiculous to me. So Ramunda dies, right?
Yes.
And and it's Namor. Namor's attack on Wakanda. She drowns, saving Riri Williams. Great. I mean, it's great to set up Riri for future things because now that
Yeah.
she feels like she owes Wakanda, that's great. But did Ramunda have to die? No, I don't think this movie had
No.
to. We had two funerals in this movie.
Yeah.
Two. And like we do that, and it sets Shuri off on this path where she's vengeful, she's angry, she wants to kill Namor. Okay, she takes the damn herb and she goes to the ancestral plane, and guess who's there? It's freaking Killmonger, right?
I
It's.
like that. I like that. That if you
I
saw my
figured
non-spoiler review, I said there was two cameos. This cameo I liked. The other cameo I didn't. I totally think they botched that. This
I
cameo I liked.
and I'm pretty sure we're on the same wavelength with the other one. If we're talking about the same person, at least I
Yeah,
think so.
but
I think we
we'll
are.
get in that.
But I okay, seeing Killmonger, great, okay, but I don't. I found it so frustrating. Like, what? Why? Like, she was an asshole to everybody, and then when Nakia was like, "Who did you see in the ancestral plane?" She wouldn't tell her.
Yeah,
Like, what was the point of not telling her? And they didn't bring it up. And Nakia was not worried at all, in the slightest. The only person that was somewhat worried about Shuri in the third act was M'Baku. When
yeah,
she told M'Baku, "Yo, I'm gonna kill Namor," he's like, "I don't think it's a good idea." And I'm the guy that said, "Let's kill him an hour ago" in the
yeah.
movie.
And then she got in his face and talked some shit to
Right.
him.
And then he's like, "All right." And it's like, "We're gonna follow your plan." And you know what
Yeah,
their plan was? Oh, yo, let's take a boat to the water. Let's go to their home turf in the water with our 50 soldiers, and we're gonna beat them. Namor, the same guy that's like, "My army is incredibly bigger than yours.
yeah.
Try me. Try me." And then
And not
Shuri's
only
like,
that, they were putting hands on the Wakandans.
yeah. And
They
and
were
Shuri was
putting
like, "You know what? All
hands
right,
on the
bet."
Wakandans.
Shuri was like, "All right, bet. Like, I'll go to you." Why? What? Why? You take a boat
I,
into the water to fight the Kukulkan. You see, like, it doesn't make any
yeah,
sense to me. And I know at the end she sees Ramunda. How? And she's like, "Show him who you are." And then we see how both Shuri and Namor, they're like, you see the parallels between the two characters. That was pretty sweet, I guess. But so many people died because of Shuri's actions and thoughts,
yeah.
and we're just gonna
And
brush over
everybody
that.
and Ramona's.
Yeah, I
Let
mean,
me tell you something. And I want to bring up Justin Square's
please,
comments real
do it.
quick. The CGI in the third is way better than the CGI, and yeah, 100%
Yes,
agree.
yes,
Um,
yes.
as soon as Ramona died, I was sitting there mad in the theater, and they were trying to take the fight away from Wakanda. Where else would they go? I
All
figured
the
they would have
people
gone to
went
the big,
to the Jabari mountains.
but I thought they would go onto the beach, which made more sense, or somewhere where they had land to fight on, which I understand. Where were they supposed to go? But you don't go on a boat
Big
and
boat
sit
to the middle of
in
the
the middle of
water
middle of the water. It's
with
kind
the
of
people who live underwater.
yeah.
Like, it
Um,
didn't make any sense to me. Like, if
but
Shug, if I'm gonna go fight you, Shug, if we're gonna fight the two of us, like, what would make more sense for me to do? Like, get you to come to my turf to where I know what's around me. I'm comfortable. I can rig it however I want to, or me go to your place where you live, where you reside, that you're the king of, with
I'm the
your
king.
endless army of people, and let me go on my little Wakandan boat that is immediately brought to shit by all these little water bombs that the Talocan people had. Like,
Yeah.
I was just so and I didn't think about this till the movie ended. I'm like, wait, what? Why would you go you're essentially might as well just take the fight to Talocan at that point. Go underwater. Because what like you're asking to die. There were like 10 Wakandans left when Shuri and Namor came back, like, and we're friends now. Like
Yeah,
that's
there's
like
like there's a handful of them left. There was like like 20 of them, 40 of them died. Yeah, maybe
yeah,
they
there's
were
so many
overconfident.
people die. Maybe they were
Um,
overconfident. And if that's what they were going for, if that was the intent that of Shuri's overconfidence and her being so full of vengeance and stuff, I did not see the repercussions to her actions. What was the repercussion? What was the because she had the little talk with Ramonda where she was like, "Oh yeah, show him who you are," and she's like, "You yield, we'll help you, you help us." Boom. And he's like, "All right,"
yeah.
and like, what? That's it. That's
Well, I think.
it.
Well, I want to go back to the original point of why you think Ramonda died. I think Ramonda died to make Namor really on the edge of villain slash antihero. Because even at the end of the movie, he's telling Namora,
Hmm.
um, Wakanda's going to need us.
He's playing the hell out of them.
Yeah, Wakanda's going to need us. So
Hmm.
yeah, I yield, but I'm not really not going to do what I want to do.
The
So
Black
it's more.
Panther is the strongest hero on the
Yeah,
strongest city or in the strongest city on the surface world. Like they're a good ally, but when they need help, they'll call us. All the
yeah.
leverage is with Namor and Talocan.
Yeah. So to me that it what it set up was he's on the line of being a villain to an anti-hero. And it's more on the villain side. And that's why now did Ramona need to die?
No.
To cut unless you're really trying to push Shuri over the edge. Like
And
that's
Justin in
what
the chat brings that up, like to give Shuri one last push to her breaking point.
yeah,
I think you could, and again, hindsight's 2020. I'm not the people making these movies. I'm just stupid old Chris that watches them. But like, I think you could have Namor just going to Wakanda and busting ass. I
beat
thought that
beat
was
beat the brakes
enough.
off of beat the brakes off of everybody.
He beat M'Baku with one punch to the chest.
Yeah.
Like it, I thought he did enough, and him
Yeah.
just be like, "Yo, like I will when I declare war on the surface world, I will take your city down, your nation down first before like, and if I can beat you easily, imagine what I can do to the rest of the world."
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. Ramonda did not have to die in this movie. And I know they did that for the whole Shuri arc. I didn't think she had to die. Like I thought that was a little too much. And I was bothered by it. I was bummed. And remember when we first talked about Namor and I said to you, I don't want Namor to be the one to kill T'Challa.
Yeah.
Second worst thing they could have done to Namor was have
It's
Namor
killed,
kill Ramonda.
and he did.
And
I
he
mean,
did it.
technically, he killed her.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
And
The worst way
it's
to go
Namor's
out. The
fault.
worst way. Yeah, it's the worst way to go out to drowning. Like that's the worst.
Because I didn't want them to really antagonize him. But in my eyes, and Suge, I love you 2 cents on this. All of Namor's actions in this movie were 100% justified.
Oh, absolutely,
I don't think he acted
absolutely.
out of pocket at all.
Yeah, I think this movie really draws the parallel between real life, um, and how I say this. I don't want to come across, but it's real life between how African Americans and Hispanic people, Latinos, act with each other.
When the Spaniards colonized present what is now Mexico and
Hmm.
Yucatan at the time in the 1500s, right? Whatever. They he Namor watched his mother's people and his mother's land get taken over by these folks without like they were enslaved.
Yeah,
And again, the parallels to what Killmonger was trying to do in the first movie and to what Namor is doing. But to me, Killmonger's case, Killmonger was doing it like good intent. He had a good idea. He wanted to help other black people around the world using Wakanda's resources.
Yeah.
But he wanted them to take down governments and overthrow governments. Like he crossed the line. Namor was just trying to prevent his people from getting colonized
The
by
way
the
he
Americans.
watched the way he watched his mom's. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
After watching his mother and watching his mother's people, and like they were the only reason they were in that position was because they got sick because the Spaniards brought smallpox. They brought all these diseases, and they're killing all these people, and that's why they had to take the flour from
Yeah.
underwater, right? And why they had to go underwater. Namor's trying to prevent that, and now that people are intruding on their vibranium and on their turf, Namor felt threatened.
Yeah.
Like, can you blame him? I
And
don't
the
think you
conversation
can.
and the conversation that they have while that they're talking, and like you said, it's a parallel of both, kind of in just in the same place, going in the same direction, but going about it different ways. Like Shuri's doing the same thing. She's trying to, and Ramonda's doing the same thing. They're trying to prevent they being colonized and their resources used, you know, without their consent, basically. Like that,
Right.
the whole when they send that Black Ops team to go steal vibranium tools, and then Dora Milaje is behind that door, and they stop him and they take him into the UN. They said, here are your why were you guys trying to do this? Why are you trying to give us your vibranium, like take steal your our vibranium? Like, you don't need to do this. It's only because you want it and we have it. Therefore, you feel entitled to it. Um, and like you said, it's the same thing for Namor. They went looking for it, they found it, so they felt entitled that they should have that vibranium. He's like, no, it's not yours. You're not going to just take it. And so they're trying to do the same thing, but they're going about it different ways. And even when he heard Shuri talking to Ramonda, where she says, "I want to. If I think about my brother, I'm going to burn the world down." And he tells her, "I'll help you. You want to? Let's
Yeah.
burn it together." And she kind of thinks about it, like, yeah. But then I think that's another reason why they killed her. They had to separate them because I think they were close. Like she was like, even when they rescued her and they shot the Telecom girl, um, she wanted to save her. And
Yeah.
Nakia was like, "No, we got to get out of here." She's like, "No, we need to help her. I don't want to,
This is a declaration of war.
yeah." And they didn't help her. I'm gonna tell you something. When Namor walked up to Ramona on the beach and looked at her the way he did, he goes, "If you try to come for her, I'm gonna kill you." Like, he didn't say, "I'm gonna kill Wakanda." He goes, "I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna destroy Wakanda." I was like, "Holy shit!"
And I want to give love because I feel like I'm being very negative right now. Like again, Letitia Wright, Angela Bassett, and Daniel Huerta, like they crushed this movie, right? And
Yes.
I'm not knocking them and their performances. And regardless of what, because I know Letitia Wright got herself into some trouble, at least PR wise, with her thoughts on certain things. And I'm not here to address that. I'm here to talk about her in the movie, and she was great. And Angela Bassett was great. People are talking about giving Angela Bassett an Oscar nomination, right?
Yeah.
Daniel Huerta, his first big break in a movie, and this is the performance that you give? Holy hell. Round of
Yeah.
applause. Crushing it. And that scene that you're talking about, where Nakia's going underwater to try to get Shuri and Riri, and then the where Namor's like, yo, if you send one of them Wakandans underwater and I find out about it, this is game over. And of course, Nakia's already down there. Little does he know. And now, I didn't want Ramona to die. I like the character a lot, and I feel like
Yeah.
he could have done it regardless of. And I see Justin in the chat bringing up Jay Washington, fellow reviewer on the YouTube space. how he said she feels like she died because Angela Bassett may not want to keep doing these movies because of time commitment. Sure, no, and if that's the case, if they just wanted to kill her off, I think there were better ways to go about it, or write the character off. I think there are better ways to do it. But then, okay, sure. And let me take it as the movie gave it to me. Namor, in maybe not inadvertently, but uh, caused Ramonda's death and pushed Shuri to this breaking point. And I don't mind Killmonger being the ancestor she saw in the ancestral plane. I don't mind that. Like you said, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a very cool reveal. And I like he
It
was
got
like,
spoiled. It got spoiled for me. It pissed me off.
did it?
So
How?
when I went to buy the tickets, the cast came up, and Michael B. Jordan's right there, and I knew
Oh.
right away because in my thought process, I go, well, maybe they'll use it as a flashback or something. But it had Michael B. Jordan with nothing under his name. I'm like, no, he's in the movie. Where I didn't know, but I knew he was in the movie. So when she went to the ancestral plane and she goes, "Mother," I go, "It's fucking Killmonger." And then they panned, and I go, "There he is."
There are people in my
And
theater that were like, "That's not your mom, dog." And and I was sitting there, and he was like, "What's up, little cuz?" or whatever he said. "What's up, little cousin?" whatever he said to her. And
yeah,
I'm like, because to me, I know I just got done gushing about Chadwick Boseman in the first Black Panther movie, but to me, Michael B. Jordan steals the first movie. I think Killmonger is an incredible villain, top 5, maybe top 3 Marvel villain that we've had in the 14 years of MCU content we've been getting, and 14 plus years of MCU content. But Michael B. Jordan is so good. Period. Also,
yeah,
Michael B. Jordan is so good as Killmonger. So he pops up and he's like, "You're gonna be like a brother, you're gonna be like me, get shit done," or whatever the hell he said, right? I didn't mind that. I actually liked that. I
yeah,
like that she saw Killmonger. What I thought they were gonna do, and what I kind of wish they did at some point, I wish that I was holding out hope that there was unused dialogue or scenes from the first Black Panther that they shot
mm-hmm.
with Chadwick Boseman. You don't CGI him like people like how they do in movies now, where they bring back like they de-age people, or like how
Yeah,
Princess Leia is in Rogue One. I don't
yeah,
want that with Chadwick Boseman. I thought they would have like used deleted scenes or something unused, or just like archival dialogue, not even just like visual. Give me just a voice. You know how in the first film they had those panthers on the tree? What if one of those panthers like was just looking at Shuri right in the eye, and you heard Chadwick Boseman's voice? And I thought that would make for a beautiful moment. But I'm not mad at what we got. I'm not mad at it. And yes, Justin, I know with Rise of Skywalker, but also Star Wars was a mess from the beginning. This movie was not a mess from the jump. Like Star Wars, those movies, like they plan a trilogy of movies and then they try giving each movie to a different director. That was gonna fail from the jump. We should have known that from the second they announced it.
yeah. And
Um,
real quick, shout out to Joseph
Joseph
Burrows was in
Burrows
there.
was popping, dog.
What's popping? Yeah, I like that Killmonger was there. I like that cameo. It was really I thought it was dope.
It's just how they did it afterwards that
I
that
think
bothered me.
yeah, I think the problem that you're having with the arc of Shuri, and I think the problem they ran into was this was a 2 hour and 41 minute movie.
Almost
I got to the
three
movie
hours long.
I got to the movie at 6 o'clock. We didn't get out to the theater till 8:55, and that's only because my daughter had to go pee. So that was a 3 hour movie. I think you're right. They focused so much on the memorial of Chadwick that they only had so much time to do story. Had they given us another 10, 15 minutes of Shuri, it feels like that arc would have been much better because there would have been more time spent. And this is where I talk about the other cameo that they could have cut.
Oh, here we go. All right,
I understand Ross being in the movie.
there we go.
Um,
Let's talk about it.
Valentina did not need to be in all those scenes. The way they could have effectively used her was Ross does the same thing. He gets visited by Shuri. He tells her the new director's watching him, and things like that. He
Hmm.
goes to the crime site. He finds Sherry's beads. He uses it. He's talking to Ramonda. Da, 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 da. Everything goes the same, but Valentina's not there. Any of the scenes, and then when he gets that house scene when Ramonda dies, he walks into his kitchen. His TV's on. There's somebody sitting there making something. He goes, "What are you doing here? What are you doing in my house?" And then they reveal it's her. They reveal it's her, and then they have the little conversation, and then there you go. You don't. They didn't. She didn't need to be in any of the, because the only reason she's there is for Thunderbolt. Because I heard people saying, "Well, she's there for to be there because she's like kind of trying to get the vibranium." You already had that with the nations. You had the French and the United States. The guy that played the United States ambassador or whatever. You could have thought he was the one that was trying to do it the whole time, and then Valentina gets revealed at the end, and cool. Now you've had that cameo to set up Thunderbolts.
Hmm.
You didn't. She didn't need to, because it was so weird, because she's like, "Oh, are you going to take that call? Oh, he's the expert." It was out of character. And then she goes, "Well, I've had your shit all bugged the whole time." So that would have been more powerful if we never seen her until the end, where he goes in his kitchen, and then that's when she tells him, "Hey, yeah, I've had your stuff, but I've known what you've been doing this whole time. We've been keeping tabs on you, and we know that you know more than you were telling us, and now we're gonna arrest you for treason." Cool. So now, if I think they could have done it that way. So I didn't care for the Valentina stuff, and I see Justin Square. He said, "I'm fine." He was fine with it. It didn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It didn't go anywhere. So you could have taken that time to focus more on Shuri's arc, because, like I said, she went from wanting to help Riri to now she was trying to fix things with Namor, to now her mother dies, and now she wants to kill him, to now, okay, now I want a truce with us. Like, it just
Right.
went so quick. Um, so it was just kind of like quick. And I think if you give it 10 or 15 more minutes, that arc looks a little smoother, and maybe
Let
you
me
won't have a big issue with it.
let me take it a step further with that. I totally agree with everything you said. I don't think this movie needs to be longer. I think it needs to be shorter, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
And the second thing is that stuff with Ross and Valentina. Um, they that was the marvelly thing, right? Because
Yeah.
remember, the entire discourse going into this movie, oh, we're gonna get Doctor Doom. Oh, we're gonna get
I
new Black Panther. That was us.
I think we were gonna get Doctor Doom, but I loved how they ended the movie.
No, totally.
You didn't need to do
This movie
Doctor
did
Doom.
not need
Yeah.
anything marvelly like that. Because we all go to these big Marvel things. Every single Marvel movie that comes out, we want there to be what's the big thing? What's the
Yeah.
end credit scene? What's the big reveal that will take us into the next movie, into the next thing? We all want that, right? This movie didn't do any of that. The
Yep.
closest it got was the stuff with Val and Ross. And it,
And I think Riri, but it fit.
and Riri, right?
Because that's where that corny line comes in, where it makes me laugh, where they bust into the warehouse, and he goes, "She's got an Iron Man suit," and then he gets blasted. That was corny as hell, but it was funny, and I
and
liked
like,
it.
and don't give me again. The third act of this movie falls apart for me, and Riri is a part of the reason why. But um, the big Marvel-y stuff to me, like again, you were right on the money with Val. Val's only there. Apparently, she's the head of the CIA now, at least from how I interpreted things,
FBI,
and
CIA, yeah, yeah.
something like that.
I thought maybe it was Shield, but it's like CIA.
Yeah, it's
They
not
mentioned it.
Shield.
Yeah,
But you do like she's there, and like you said, they're Thunderbolts. Great. Okay, cool. But then like Ross, who I really like as a character, I really like Martin Freeman as the character, and I like Ross. I like Everett Ross a ton. Which, by the way, the entire time, the entire movie, Shuri was trying to avoid problems with the states, right? Because she represents Wakanda. She was trying to avoid these problems with the United States. Why the hell? Why the hell do you send Okoye to go break Everett Ross from U.S. from the
At the end
that
of the
you
movie, yeah.
from yeah, go steal him essentially. Like, and not act like that's gonna, again,
What is
no
it? What?
repercussions to actions.
Yeah, but what is he gonna do now? He can't live in the states anymore, so he's in Wakanda.
What's and what the hell? If you don't want a declaration of war with the states, why steal a prisoner of the United States? And the dudes know that it's Wakandan. So what the hell? Because of Ross's ties with Wakanda. So what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
what's again repercussions to actions? Sure, he's like, I don't want to start a war with the United States. Then why steal Ross at the end?
yeah, and
And
I think it's like Justin Square says he's in Secret Invasion.
and then okay, great. But now, technically, within the universe, America should have problems with Wakanda
Yeah,
because they stole prisoner. A prisoner under U.S. captivity was stolen, was taken by Wakandan soldiers.
and how and did
Just
you see
saying.
at the end when Riri asked Sherry, she goes, "Am I gonna have to worry about people coming after me again, the government?" And she said, "No, I took care of that." But then you go steal Ross right afterwards.
Right. Then this makes sense. This makes
So
sense to
like
me.
so like I could imagine if they turned over Ross to Wakanda and say, "Here, we're going to give him to you. This is our agreement." That's different. But Okoye just goes in and steals Ross, and now you're right. Isn't that like an act of not war,
Like,
but act
not
of
war, but like you're inviting a problem with the states.
yeah?
You're inviting an issue. But again, that's besides the point.
Yeah. I
We'll
want
see if
to.
that might not even matter. Who give
Yeah,
who that might not
they
even
might not. Yeah, they might not even bring it up. But I want to go back to something with Ramonda, and I want to ask your opinion on it.
okay.
When Shuri gets taken and Okoye goes back to Wakanda, what were your thoughts on that interaction between Ramonda and Okoye, where brings up
Oh,
when she brings up when Killmonger sat in the seat, you took his side,
you let him.
and
Yeah, you let him do it.
I had to go to the Jabari to ask to be protected,
Hmm.
and now you've lost my daughter. That shit was a little deep. You know
Do
that was deep.
do you ever like? I'm gonna ask you this in response to my response. My answer is another question to you.
Okay.
Do you ever like watch a movie, and especially like those Oscar movies, right? Like where people are winning awards and shit, and you sit there and you watch a movie, and like a scene happens, and you're like, oh shit, that's why they won the Oscar
Yeah.
because that scene was very good.
Yeah.
That was that scene was the Angela Bassett. Oh, if she gets nominated for an Oscar, it's because of that.
I think it's
That
that scene and that the first scene where they where she's
I
in
thought
the
that scene with
UN.
Okoye was more powerful than the UN scene, solely because of her relationship with Okoye, and she was like, "I lost my family," like because Shuri was cheating, know if Shuri was alive or not, and she had just lost her son. Her husband died a few years ago. The only member of her family left, of her bloodline left, was Shuri, and she didn't know if Shuri was alive. She
Yeah.
thought the folks from Talocan killed her or captured her or killing her or torturing her, whatever. And Okoye, who pleaded with Ramonda to let Shuri go with her on
Yeah.
the thing to MIT to go get Riri, and Ramonda didn't want Shuri to go. So she entrusted Okoye, and she's like, "You let Killmonger come in here and just take the throne, and you took his side." While I was trying to stay alive, protect my family, do whatever. You let that happen, and now you take my daughter stateside, and you come back without her, and we don't know if she's alive.
Yeah. When she said you took Killmonger's side, I was like, oh
And I'm over here
shit.
like,
She
damn,
went
she got a
there.
point, dog. Like,
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't she didn't have to hit her with that hard. Yeah. She hit her hard with that one.
totally.
She was like you know, and so I thought that was very good. It obviously set up a really good arc for Angela Bassett. And I agree with you. That scene really if she's gonna win the
That's
Oscar, it's because of
that.
that
If
scene.
she gets nominated for an Oscar, it's because of that scene. Like, Like, and not saying what else she did in the movie was bad or subpar, but
No,
that
it
was
was
like
great.
that's the money. Like
Yeah,
that's where the money's at. In that one scene with the Koye. And I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Denai Guerrera. I don't want Guria. I don't want to mispronounce her name, and I'm sorry if I did. But she also acted her ass off in that scene, crying and shit when she got stripped of the whole general thing. Like I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it.
yeah,
Um, I thought that was super rad. But the Angela Bassett stuff, that was where the money was at. Like there are certain movies that you watch and you're like, holy shit, they're gonna win the Oscar for that. And that was the scene. I'm like, if they get nominated, like, if she gets nominated, that's why. If she wins, that's why. And she was very, very good. Total, like, loved it.
yeah. That scene was very powerful. I think it was really well done. Now we've been talking about him, but let's get into it. Namor, Namor.
Namor.
Let me tell you something.
Gulgulkan!
Let me tell you something. You know what I loved most about him
What?
wasn't how fucking savage he was.
He was a
Wasn't
savage.
wasn't how suave he was.
He was hot as hell.
Wasn't how he the way he thought.
King
the
shit.
way the way he flew through the air and was just tearing things apart. I loved the way he would move side to side, and he
He
was
was
just
double jumping, dude.
yeah, and he was just tearing things up. When M'Baku tries to hit him and he just puts one arm, like you gotta really be like, oh shit. When a guy just you hit him with all your might, he just puts the arm up, breaks your shit, and then just turns around and fucking
One punch to the chest.
just freaking Bruce Lee's you in the chest, and
1 inch punch, dude.
yeah, and then he's just having his army just murk everybody. Like they were the fact that they were jumping out of the water, grabbing people and murking them,
Yeah,
or
in
when
the
they
water.
in the final battle where they fell and
Mhm.
they're just stabbing them. I'm like, good.
Again, why do you take the final fight into the water? Does not make
Yeah,
any sense. No sense at all.
they could have done a better job with that, but I thought I thought he did an amazing job as Namor. I cannot wait to see him under the projects where he's going to
Yep.
come, where he's going to be at. Because, like I said, he's riding the line of villain, anti-hero. So where do you use him next? Now, okay, so now we'll get into what he said. He uses the word mutant. He
Oh, he said
uses
the
that word.
M, the almighty M word. And
He did.
in Miss Marvel, Bruno said mutation. Namor said mutant.
Yeah.
That he's a mutant. He said that.
Yes. He says. He goes. I'm a mutant, and they explain that
And the
the
riff
flat.
plays. Uh what's the X-Men? Did
Did it really play? I didn't hear
No,
that.
it didn't
I know
play.
I know it did it for
She Miss Marvel from Miss Marvel. No, it didn't do it
yeah.
in there. And
Could
if
you imagine?
that would have been so corny if he was like, "Oh, I'm a mutant."
Well, it did it for Doctor Strange when Professor X comes out. The
Oh
music
yeah,
hits.
that too. Yes, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way, so I was like, wait, did it do that? I didn't hear
No,
it.
they didn't do it.
Um,
No, it would have been corny. I'm glad they didn't do it.
but the way they did his backstory, the way he presented himself,
Mm-hmm.
his two generals, is dope.
Atuma and
Yeah.
Namora. Yeah.
No more. And now you got a bunch of indigenous and Latino people going around Kamehameha each other because now you do the
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
The whole
They're
like,
just yeah. It's
yeah.
offset though. If you watch it, it's offset though. It's not here. It's here.
Is
It's
it
offset.
this?
It's offset.
It's
So when
offset
you're
a little
yeah
bit.
like that yeah. So it's like that. But everyone's around going like this. I'm like oh so
It's
we're not
not
Kamehameha.
this.
Yeah we're not
It's just
Kamehameha
like,
people.
yeah, this ain't some Dragon Ball shit.
Next time I see Chris, Um, I thought his generals were great. I thought him explaining things. I thought that last scene with him was really powerful
Oh,
because
so good. Yep.
how he was talking about you, like you said, he's like they're the most powerful nation on the land. We're the
He
they're
said
gonna be
Black
the
Panther
help.
is the most powerful person and the most like the strongest person in the strongest city or whatever
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
surface world. He views Black Panther that highly. Black Panther almost Shuri almost killed him.
Took his wings off. I was
She
kind of messed up.
ripped. a wing off the ankle, and I was
Yeah.
pissed because at this point, like I'm full Namor. I wanted Namor to win so bad, right? I was like he would when he stabbed her dog with
I thought it was
because
over.
okay,
I thought that I go if they kill Shuri, they killed,
like
you know,
three
I'm not trying to
three
laugh.
people.
Chadwick dies. Okay, that's real death. But they killed Ramonda and they killed Shuri.
Yeah, like dog. No, like
I was like, oh wow.
he went because first of all, I only watched. Let me preface. I only watched the first trailer. I
Yeah,
didn't watch the second trailer or anything like that. Right? I didn't watch any of the featurettes. I wanted to just what I just watched the first trailer and that's it. So when Shuri's like, oh, vibranium, he's covered in it. I said, oh, word. This dude is dripping in vibranium too. I love him. And then they go to Talocan and it's like, oh yeah, the vibranium is the sun down here. And I said, what? This is
yeah,
rad. And then at the end, where his spear is raw vibranium or pure vibranium, however the AI said it, he stabbed Shuri through her body, through the suit, through her body, through rock.
yeah.
It was insane. And I was like, Namor, I'm rocking with you, dog. Like I'm with Namor. Fucking, I'm fucking out here, dog. I was
Right.
not playing around because his
Yeah.
character development. This was maybe one of like the biggest. This one of the best character introductions in the entire MCU.
Yeah.
And I may be a bit biased because you get the Mexican actor to play Namor, and you give him this very Hispanic background, how like he's like part God and part what is like he's like his mother's from Yucatan and all this shit. And Matt Thomas, Matt, what's up? I see you in the chat, dude. Love you too, dog. It wasn't any of the trailers. It was a shock to everyone. I was talking to people that because I guess the I'm drinking too much wine. The line from Shuri where she said he's covered in it. Again, shout out to my buddy Sean Wingblade. He said that he figured he was wearing vibranium because that she said that, and that wasn't one of the things that one of the TV spots or trailers, whatever. So he just put two and two together. So I guarantee he's not the only one that thought that.
Yeah.
But Matt's also onto something. It wasn't explicitly said in anything, but at least until the movie came out. Um, so Namor, which also the origin of the name, a
Was good.
child without
First,
love.
yeah. First off, when he pops up, when that scene happens and he just floats in the air with that, and he's like,
It's a child, and
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
dog.
It was dope. It
Like
was
it
dope.
was
And then
hard. I'm like,
yeah,
yo, this kid with wings on his ankles. You know how stupid that is? Wings on ankles. Like, you know how dumb that is? Granted,
and
like
he
I
made it.
know you're talking to the guy whose favorite Marvel thing ever is a teenage boy who dresses up in a spider suit and can climb on walls. So like you are like all this shit's stupid, but you're talking to the guy, or you're talking about a guy with angel wings on his ankles, and he could beat the shit out of anybody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like
Yeah,
he like I think Ryan Coogler or somebody, Kevin Feige, one of them, they're like, oh, Namor full power, strong as a Hulk. I thought he was stronger. I thought this man, like Kukulkan, as M'Baku said his name in the trailers in the movie. They said like the serpent feather god. God. This dude's a god.
that's Thor's a
Like
god.
Kukulkan. Like he's like Namor. This movie is such a great at least it's smarter than going out on a boat to find neighbors. Yo, I'm telling you, why would you go if I again? I will say this analogy again for those who missed it. If Suge and I were gonna fight, why would I go to Suge's joint where he knows the ins and outs, where he has the home advantage. And even if I'm acting on impulse alone, even if I'm acting on vengeance and anger, or as you put it earlier in the chat, Justin, overconfidence, it's still stupid. If I want to fight Suge, I'm like, Suge, let's fight right now. I'll go to you. I'll go to your house, dog. What? Why not hunker down? Because all the people, Wakanda was evacuated.
Yeah, was it?
Everyone
They're all in
was
the mountains.
gone.
Yeah, they were all in the
Take
mountains.
the fight to Wakanda, where you know what you're doing. I'm not gonna get mad at this again. But Namor, Namor is the character. This is one of the better introductions of a character because, and like you
Absolutely.
said, Suge, like he toes the line between villain and anti-hero very well because that's what the character is in the books. And they took little to nothing in regards to Namor from the comic books. No one's gonna be calling this dude the Submariner. If I hear someone in this universe call him the Submariner, I'm gonna fight somebody. Like I,
Well, he did do the Imperial Rex thing. He did do that.
like just his like and I we keep saying Namor, and I know he says Namor, and that's it's interchangeable because Ramonda says Namor, and so like it's both. Boom, problem solved. So I'm not.
There is a big thing about it. I do say Namor, but I don't speak Spanish as well, so I
It's I
don't
mean,
roll
and,
my
but
R.
it's both. Again, Ramonda said Namor. So
Yeah,
like that was immediately the movie being like, it's both. They mean the same thing. Namor, Namor, same thing.
but if you
Child
call him the
without love.
Submariner,
But if
Submariner,
I swear to God, if anyone calls him the Submariner, I want Namor to rip your ankles off. Like I like rip the wings off your ankles, dog. But Namor as a character, I bet this was go viral.
right?
No, like I just thank you, Justin. You're too kind. But Namor as a character, great, and this is all Tenoch Huerta and the
Yeah,
writing. They wrote him very well. And Ryan Coogler directed it. Again, we talked about this earlier. The world building, like
yeah,
Talocan and Gulgulkan and everything in regards to Namor, I think was done to a it was as well done as you can possibly do it within the movie that was made. And Nat Thomas put in the chat a few minutes ago, people who say he didn't have a strong motivation are all is that like censored?
no,
Oh,
it's
they're
a
all
white thing.
white.
Yeah, no, he had a really good motivation. Like I said this
All his
earlier.
actions were justified. All of them. Every single
I
one.
and I said
He
it
didn't.
earlier.
Namor did nothing wrong.
If you look at the parallel between real life and the parallel between Latinos, indigenous people, and black people, or we're always fighting for the same thing, but for some reason we can't ever come together, and we're always doing it our way, and that was shown in this movie where you had Shuri and him talking, and they wanted the same thing,
Yeah.
but Shuri was talking about no, we need to do it this way, and Namora is like, no, we need to just burn the world down. My daughter, I'm gonna tell you this right now, Chris, and we
Please.
watched that movie. The end of that movie, my daughter looked at me and said, "Why are they fighting? They should just get together and burn the United States down." That's what my daughter said. My daughter's 8 years old. She said that. She was like, "I'm about it." She's like, "Namor ain't wrong," and Shuri shouldn't be fighting with
Shit,
him.
so was I.
And it really was.
There's no Avengers. Who's gonna stop him?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a problem with me, and maybe they did that because of obviously culture and everything. But why were there no Avengers at T'Challa's funeral?
Okay, that did bother me too. This
I mean,
it
it
was
didn't bother me too. I was mad. It's just you would, if anybody, I would expect to see Bucky there.
right. Okay,
If anybody, if they didn't want anybody else there, that's fine. But I would expect to see Bucky there.
they need to send a representative of some kind. Like no one, and I don't know. Maybe they don't know. I mean, maybe they all found out when it was reported that he died. When Anderson Cooper showed up on CNN, and he's like, "Oh, King T'Challa's passed away." Maybe that's how they found out. I don't
Maybe.
know, but maybe again like shooting schedules, and honestly, if that scene was a cameo fest, it might have taken away from it.
It might have been, which I understand. I
Like it
understand.
was, in that scene from Avengers Endgame that got deleted of all of them taking a knee after Tony
Yeah,
did the snap. It's a cool moment. I don't need to see that. I'm glad it wasn't in the movie. I thought that was a bit much, especially with the funeral happening later.
yeah.
Um, I hope,
You didn't need a double dip.
I hope they address it, like maybe in Avengers Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars, if Shuri's in either one of those. Like we see Sam Wilson, who's now the Captain America. Um, he goes up to her. He's like, "I'm sorry what happened to your brother, and I wish I was there." That's
Yeah,
it. That's all you need to do. And I'm
and
immediately, I forgive you immediately.
yeah, and I like what Justin's saying here, and I think that's what it's the same reason why Celebrity does has super small funerals, small funeral ceremonies. Maybe they just wanted to keep it just to Wakanda. I thought
Maybe.
maybe it was culturally because they do a very cultured funeral where they're walking,
Yeah,
you know,
there's a
and everybody's
whole there's
dancing.
traditions and yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you know, so I can completely understand that. I just was like, nobody's gonna be
But
there.
Bucky was the first one that popped in my brain because White Wolf, he was in Wakanda, he knew T'Challa, all this stuff,
He was
but
hanging out. He was living there,
he was
so they
yeah.
got to know him there, and he was close with Shuri.
But
So
all it
yeah,
takes is one line of dialogue. If Shuri, let's say Shuri's in Secret Wars, right? Like if I have a theory that we're gonna get two different teams for Avengers, the two Avengers movies. It'll be all the crazy ass powerful ones for Kang, and we'll have a smaller, not OP team for Secret Wars. And at least if it goes the way I want it to, it probably won't because I'm stupid. But but rock with me for a second. The Secret
I'll
Wars,
rock
say
with you all
Shuri's in
day.
it. What?
I said I'll rock with you all day.
Thank you. Say Shuri's in Secret Wars, right? And she's with like She-Hulk and Spider-Man and whatever, right? And Captain America. And so Sam like goes over, he takes his headpiece off, and he puts an arm on his shoulder. He's like, "I'm sorry about what happened to your brother, and I wish we were there. We didn't
Yeah,
know." And like, and
I
you,
think it'd be more powerful. It's Bucky.
okay, boom, have it be Bucky. If
Like
Bucky
Bucky
makes out of
walks up.
Thunderbolts,
Yeah, but like Bucky walks up to Shuri and is like,
like I'm sorry,
because
like just
him and Buck, you remember, and that's what's so dope was remember in Civil War that whole thing and like how Black Panther wanted to kill him because his dad, and then and then but then he takes him in and then he
yeah,
helps them. They were tight. They were boys
right,
like going into the Infinity War and everything. So
yeah.
they were boys. So I think that would be more impactful. Obviously, if it's Captain America, Sam Wilson's version, that would be dope. I think you're right. We're gonna get variants of Black Panther um, in King Dynasty or Secret Wars. Which one do you
My
think? I
guess is
think
Secret
Secret Wars.
Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think we're
what is
gonna get.
King Dynasty gonna be? So is King Dynasty because now
I don't know,
we're
dog.
gonna we're gonna kind of go a little bit
And
go
this
into
movie
this
gives
other
us
side.
nothing into the future of the MCU
Nothing other
besides
than
the
the
tease the
T'Challa
Thunderbolts, got
and
a new
T'Challa
yeah
stuff
T'Challa, Shuri,
and
like,
Shuri.
but
That's
it's
it. And
nothing
Namor
like
and Namor.
we don't see Kang. There wasn't a Doctor Doom. Like this movie, it kind of was like a Multiverse of Madness in a sense, but better.
Yeah.
That it wasn't what fans expected for the. Actually, I lied. It wasn't what fans expected, but in this movie's case, for the better. Like I'm glad it wasn't, oh, Doctor Doom pops up at the end. I'm glad it wasn't, oh, hey, here's that next big Marvel thing.
I
No,
like the way, like I
it
said, I
was
like the way
subtle
it.
teases
Yeah,
to things, but they didn't overshadow what this movie was really about.
yeah,
Like
100% agree.
and I'm glad that was the case. And the end credit scene was beautiful in its own way.
And I like the
And it
way
wasn't anything
Coogler.
crazy.
I like the way Coogler ended it.
Yes.
I really
It,
did.
it was
It
it
just
was it was
ended.
gorgeous.
Now we had the mid credit scene, and then it was over.
Yeah, I texted because one of my buddies had texted me while I was in the movie. He said, "Oh, Wakanda Forever is very good," and I did like a good boy. I didn't respond until the credits were rolling, and
Like a good boy.
I texted him. I said, "Is there just one end credit scene?" And this was after the scene played out with Baby
Yeah,
T'Challa, and not baby, but Kid T'Challa. And he said, "Yeah, there's only one scene." I said, "Good. I don't want there to be anything else because it would overshadow this."
it didn't need to be. You didn't
Like,
need to see Doctor Doom.
because Marvel would have put like fucking, pardon my French, Shuri like was just hanging out at her lab, and then boom, Kang shows up. I don't want that. I didn't. Not with this one. Like in my stupid brain, I told myself for months we're gonna get Doctor Doom, or we're gonna get something
I think we,
stupid.
I think we were supposed to get Doctor Doom, and then they looked at it and decided not to.
In the original idea for a Black Panther 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like, I think I told you the last thing that we did about Black Panther. What if, like, at that United Nations thing, they had a representative from Latveria? That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say. But if you did that in this movie, we wouldn't be talking about Namor. We wouldn't be talking about Shuri. We wouldn't be talking about this. The
We'd be talking
discourse would
about Doctor.
solely be Doctor Doom and Latveria. And I'm glad they didn't do it. I'm very glad they did.
So obviously, you see the bottom and said, "What is the future?" Now, kind of going away from Black Panther for a minute, we did get the trailer for Ant Man: Quantumanium. Let me
Yes.
tell you something. Out of all the Ant Man movies, I liked Ant Man one. Ant Man two was cool. It wasn't the best, but it was cool.
Sure. Okay.
Tell me why this third movie is going to be the best Ant Man movie ever.
I don't know, man. I rewatched the first one after Wakanda Forever on Thursday, and I really like the Ant-Man
No, no,
movie.
the first one's really good, but this one,
The second
the
one's
way
good too.
it's setting up and how everything's like the world building that like
We're going to the
when you
quantum realm the entire time.
but the way they're showing it though, it's so futuristic. It's like Star Trek ish,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And
Sure.
then
Yeah. Sure.
and let me tell you something. 2023 Jonathan Majors is about to have a year. Have you seen his other movie that's coming out?
What,
The fighter.
Creed, dog?
No, 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 no. He's
Oh.
doing a movie. He's doing a fighter pilot movie about the first
Oh,
black
Devotion. Yeah.
devotion. That movie looks really good. I
Dude, I
am
thought you were
so
talking
happy to
about
see that.
Creed. He's
No,
in a
no, Creed
he's
Three
in a
looks amazing.
he's gonna kill some
Creed
dudes in
Three.
Creed.
I am so happy for Creed Three
I'm
that I'm
I'm just happy Jonathan Majors is like becoming like he's the current it guy in Hollywood. Like
yeah
I feel like every year or two we get that new person, and Jonathan Majors is currently that guy, and he's gonna be in 2 franchises next year. Two.
yeah
He
he
he's make he's popping up in Ant-Man. He's popping up in Creed.
and well he's big in Creed, but then also too he has his own movie, The King Dynasty. Which remember we had this argument, and I said I have a feeling, and people want to argue with me. I have a feeling King is going to be what Ultron was. Hopefully better, but he's going to be what
I really hope
Ultron
you're
was.
wrong.
And I think Secret Wars is going to introduce
Doom.
Galactus. No,
Oh,
Galactus.
Galactus. I
Galactus
feel
or Doom.
I feel like Galactus is and pun intended, I mean this. I feel like Galactus is literal endgame. When the MCU
The last
decides
one,
to be done,
it's Galactus.
it'll be Galactus. Because
Can
how
we
do you
get? Can,
top that? How do you top that?
yeah, DC versus Marvel.
Oh my god! Don't hit me with that shit. No, like I don't like. I'd rather see like let's do Apocalypse first, and like
We
the
had
mutant
Apocalypse. It was more horrible.
bitch. I don't want that
Can,
Apocalypse. I don't.
can we redo the Phoenix Saga? That would be dope.
We can. Yeah, I mean, actually, no. We were 0 for 2, dog. I don't know if we need the Phoenix Saga again.
Well, let's
But
see.
like we're
Let's, go ahead.
it's a popular opinion that the next saga is going to be mutant heavy, right?
For
And we're going
sure.
to be getting some X-Men
They're
and
gonna get the X-Men. Yeah.
and I don't know if I can say this. Well, no, I'm gonna say this. I have a theory in my brain that if it's up to me, if it's up to me, Doctor Doom's a mutant in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If it's
Okay.
up to me, and you, not saying that he has to be involved with the X-Men. You just gotta make him a mutant. That's all. But that is a great segue into Phase 6. And because everyone's like, oh, they're gonna do mutants, X-Men, Wolverine, Magneto, all that shit, right? Like that'd be a fun way to do so. But with you mentioned Quantumania. Looks like a lot of fun. I am convinced that Corey Stoll is in this movie. He was the guy that was Yellow Jacket in the first Ant-Man.
Mhm.
I would be shocked if he's not in this movie. I love both Ant-Man flicks. I think they're a lot of fun. They're great Marvel movies to pop on in the background. They're funny, they're full of life, and at the end of the day, Scott Lang is one of the most likable people in the MCU. Paul Rudd's one of the most likable actors in the MCU.
Yeah.
And Quantumania, you're bringing in Catherine Newton as the new Cassie Lang, presumably because she's going to be the one that does the Young Avengers stuff if they choose to go that route. And I like that we got the whole gang together. You got Hope, Scott, Cassie, Janet, and Hank.
Yeah.
Like we're all together, and we're all gonna go to the quantum realm. Bill Murray's there for some reason. Kang's gonna be there.
I love the trailer though. The trailer was so dope.
Trailer's great. It looks, talk about CGI clusterfucks. That's what that movie's gonna be. That's my fear. That's my fear, is that this, because this movie, it looks like it's shot on it looks like it's shot on a soundstage with all green screens. Like that's
Maybe.
my fear. I hope I'm wrong. I'm very much looking forward to it though.
Yeah.
I saw
This is one
Black,
Ant-Man movie I'm actually looking forward to.
I saw Black Panther in 3D. Like I had glasses and shit. And this trailer in 3D, I'm like, this is pretty rad. And granted, they played, I don't know how your theater did it, but my theater did Ant-Man, and then they ended with Avatar,
Yeah, they
Way of
did. Yeah.
Water.
I hate
And
that movie.
I
I can.
understand because Way of Water
I hope Avatar fucking
sucks.
tanks. I hate Avatar. I hate.
I watched the trailer in 3D. I was anti Avatar 2. I wasn't gonna see it. I watched the trailer in 3D. I halfway feel obligated to watch it now. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point.
I've just never. The Avatar movie's a great movie. You can't deny that.
I haven't seen it in 13 years. I saw it once in the theater.
How old were you? Like, were you 10?
I was 12.
God damn, you're young.
Um,
What do you think will be the best best Phase 5 film next year? Quantumanium, Guardians, the Marvels. I I want the Marvels to really succeed
I want that movie to surprise people.
because of the interview Brie Larson gave where she goes, "Do people even want me to be Miss Marvel?"
I
That
do.
that sucked. That kind of sucked. Or Captain Marvel, sorry, not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. Um, I think Quantum Mania, because Quantum Mania is going to set up the King Dynasty, and that's an Avengers
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
So that's going to set that up, and we're gonna get all of that backstory. What's his motive? What because in the trailer.
Mhm.
See, and that's the weird thing because remember when I don't know if you saw the trailer that got bootleg for Quantum Medium. He says, "Oh, I've killed Ant-Man before," and it's changed now, where he says, "So you're gonna help me, Ant-Man?" You know,
Yeah.
so they
Marvel
changed the
might be
dialogue.
fucking with us, dog.
Yeah, they've changed the dialogue on it, so it's going to set up his motivation, what he's trying to do. You know, um, obviously we got other shows coming. What's going to happen with She-Hulk? Where she kind of where Kevin teased, "Oh, we'll see you on the
Yeah.
big screen." So obviously we're going to get her on the big screen and stuff like that. So there's a
Hopefully.
lot.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
hopefully there's a lot. Um, so I think I want the Marvels to do really well, but I think Quantum Mania is going to be the best out of Phase 5. Um, Real quick, what are some so obviously we know we're getting mutants, we're getting the Fantastic Four.
One of these days,
Is there?
yeah.
I know we talked last time. I really want to see Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Where does Deadpool fit in all this?
Great. It's a
So,
great question.
so now I'm gonna tell you. When I saw that trailer, I thought they were messing with us because if you watch that trailer that he did, when the guy walks by, it does not look like Hugh Jackman, and I thought they dubbed the voice of Hugh Jackman over to make it seem like it was Hugh. So I was like, it's not Hugh Jackman. They're messing with us. He's not going to be in the movie. But then they did the second one the next day where him and Hugh are sitting on the couch together talking about it. So my theory is Hugh Jackman is in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then we get the new Wolverine.
Wow. I'll
I don't think he's committing to another 10, 15 years franchise.
here. I'll say. I'll answer. Let me answer Justin's question first.
Sure.
I'm gonna surprise myself. If you'd have told me, I would have said this 2 months ago. I would have thought you were a damn liar. I think the Marvels is gonna surprise people. I want that movie to be fucking incredible because I think Captain Marvel as a character and as a movie are overhated. Um, I love Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. She may be a little OP. I totally agree. But I think she's great as the character, and I think her movie's overhated. Quantumania looks like a ton of fun. I can't wait, especially with Kang. But Guardians, to me, I think will be the best film. And this is coming from a guy who does not particularly like Guardians 2. But I think Guardians Volume 3 will be the best movie of the bunch. Um, and because it's, to me, it has the most question marks around it in regards to future universe ramifications. And James Gunn, I think he's gone on record saying this is going to be the last Guardians
Well, yeah, because
with
he's going
this.
to DC.
And yeah, he's the head of DC now. But this will be the last version of this Guardians team. We may get more, it just won't be this team, which is very sad. And if you would have told me 10 years ago, oh my God, Chris, you're going to fall in love with Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation and his team of aliens, and the aliens have a raccoon and a walking tree, I would have thought you were a lunatic. But to answer your question, or to respond to what you said, I think Hugh Jackman's going to be in the entire movie, Deadpool
Okay.
3. He will not be Wolverine in the MCU. No, I don't think Deadpool takes place in the MCU. I think they'll bring the character into the fold in one of the Avengers films. Maybe Secret Wars. Secret Wars is what I think we all thought Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was going to be. Remember how we were all like, oh my God, what if they do all these variants of all these Avengers?
Yeah.
I think that's what Secret Wars is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think, and as, oh my God, Doctor Strange, I don't want to talk about the movie before it bums me out even more than it already does. I think Secret Wars would be that, and that's how you bring in Deadpool, and it halfway makes sense. If you want the character to A, stick around, and B in the universe. So we won't know.
Have you seen any interviews with Ryan Reynolds? So he says he says he's dedicating the next 2 years to this project.
If he's dedicated to the movies or to this universe, then great.
No, this movie he's dedicating the next 2 years to.
Then okay.
So I think
I won't really believe anything about this movie until I see it.
That trailer was so funny though. He was like,
"Oh, the two videos that because him and Hugh Jackman have great chemistry."
They're like, so, yeah, I got something, and then the song plays. That was great.
The movie could be garbage,
and it's gonna.
But you know it's gonna be a fun time at the movies, regardless.
Absolutely.
Especially Hugh Jackman was done. He said on record, "Logan's my last time playing Wolverine," and then 5 years later, Ryan Reynolds is like, "Come on, dog, I got this idea," and Hugh Jackman's like, "Come on, dog, I'm game," and boom. But I won't believe anything about this movie, even after we see trailers, even after we see photos and interviews, all this shit. I won't believe a thing until I watch the movie, because if anyone is gonna meme or they're gonna have all these red herrings, or they're gonna
it's gonna be Deadpool.
Try to trick us, it's gonna be Deadpool, and I don't even want to try and speculate about that movie. The only thing I will say is Hugh Jackman's probably it's gonna be a 2-man thing. Shit, Hugh Jackman might get top billing. It won't even be Ryan Reynolds, and he's freaking Deadpool. It'll probably be Hugh Jackman, then Ryan Reynolds. And yes, the paycheck was also probably very.
They probably slid him a check, and we're like,
back up the Brink truck.
Yeah, they're like, write a number down.
And you want 50 million? Like, we'll give you 50 million, because this movie's gonna make $1 billion opening weekend.
And shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take. That's what the Ravens need to do to Lamar Jackson. Slide him a check, blink, and say, write a number down.
How does Lamar Jackson not have an extension yet? I know we're not here to talk about football, but Lamar Jackson's the shit. How do you not? I'm not.
Watch Lunch Break Hot Take. They'll give you all that. Or you can watch my show, Still Conspiracy with Garnett West, on Tuesdays. Steelers and Ravens. We talk about these things.
I'm just saying. And this is coming from a guy who's a fan of.
You're a Bears fan, right?
My quarterback is Lamar Jackson 2.0. and like I love Justin. I love him with my whole heart. I want to protect him with my whole being. But how's Lamar not have an extension, yo?
Yeah, it's very
Like
sad.
that.
How's Claypool working out?
Um, he's he's just there to trick defenses into thinking we're gonna give him the ball, but
And
then
then not give him the
we
ball.
end up giving it to Darnell Mooney. Darnell's been loving the looks the last couple weeks, but Chase only been around for 2 games. I'm not ready to say if the trade was worth it or not. I'm not here to talk about football.
You know what? I need to bring you on my show on Tuesday so we can talk football. Okay, that's what we need to do. I'm gonna bring you on
This
Tuesday.
is the most I've been involved in football in years, and I'm very happy to be around. And I'll happily talk about Ravens or Steelers if you want me to. I saw
Absolutely.
y'all brought out Money Mitch today, didn't you?
Money, Mitch Trubisky?
Mitch Trubisky, did he
No,
play
he didn't
today,
play.
or was it just
No,
because I thought Kenny Pickett got hurt?
his leg got he got turned around or something, but no, he came back in and
I
he ended
mean,
up running over.
good because Money Mitch to me he's a great backup.
You mean Tricky Mitch?
Chicky Mitch Trubisky, but not talking about football. Black Panther.
Yes.
Oh, but the future of the MCU, if we have any indication, we don't, because Marvel's always going to trick us with something, especially with Kang being around now, and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. They did the wonderful thing of
No.
not giving us the end tag. Not everything needs that big punch at the end. But we did get a punch. Just got you right in the heart, because
Yeah.
they want you to know that T'Challa's still around in this universe. It's just his son in Haiti, which it was just very rad. I was very happy that they did it. But the future of the MCU is, because now, what's the next thing we got? Ant-Man in February
We have Ant-Man coming
and
out.
Secret Invasion.
I don't think Secret Invasion that close
That's
around.
the first. That's the next show.
I thought Kang was.
King Dynasty. It's not to another 3 years, dog. We got some time before Kang. Next year is Quantumania, Guardians, and the Marvels, and then the
So
shows.
Secret Wars is
Maybe Thunderbolts is next. No,
2026.
that's not next year.
So Secret Wars is 2026.
Yes, it got pushed back. Yes,
So you got She-Hulk. You have
just happened.
Spring. You have Secret Invasion.
Yep, that's what's
You keep
after
mentioning.
Quantumania.
And then Quantumania is February 17th.
Yep.
And then you have Guardians of the Galaxy May 5th, 2023.
Yep.
You have Echo of summer of
Echo.
2023.
Yes. More Daredevil.
You have Loki season 2, summer
Oh
2023.
yes. Oh my god, that's be so rad.
Blade's getting
Kang.
moved, right? Blade's getting moved, right?
Blade's not going to be out next. Is
It
Blade
was
on?
November. It says November 3rd, 2023.
Ha! Hell no. They're not even shooting them. They lost a director 2 weeks
Yeah.
before production.
Ironheart's supposed to come in the fall of 2023. Agatha, fall winter of 2023. Daredevil Born Again, spring of 2024.
Yeah.
Captain America New World Order. May 2024. Thunderbolts July 2024.
Cool.
Fantastic Four November 2024.
Sweet.
King Dynasty 2025, and then Secret Wars is November 2025. So we're getting 2 Avengers movies, May and then November.
I
So
want to
it's
say they
Kang
got
first,
pushed back, because I think didn't Fantastic Four get pushed back?
maybe. This might be an old thing.
It might. Either way, I think you got the release orders correct. I think the dates are just incorrect. I think they all put, because we were supposed to get 2 Avengers movies in 2025, but then they got pushed back 1. So I think we're getting Secret Wars end of 25, not Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty end of 25, Secret Wars early 26.
Okay.
Which, again, the fact that we're able to say all of this is crazy as hell to me.
Very crazy.
Like, there's so much content down the pipeline, and I kind of we have a 3-month break. We get to revel in all this Namor goodness for the next 3 months.
Yes.
and
There is
then
something I want to
Ant-Man
ask
comes
you.
out.
We're gonna do a production meeting live right now. It was
I'm
really
used to
hilarious.
those.
And if lunch break hot take still in the chat. So do you remember we were doing the Loki reviews with lunch break hot take?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and we stopped.
yeah,
We only did four, and we didn't finish it.
yeah.
So lunch break hot take wants to go back, and we're gonna do those last four episodes, knowing what we know now, and review
You want to re? You want me to rewatch Loki?
the last four, just the last four episodes,
I
the
think
ones
there's
we
only
didn't finish.
6.
Or yeah, so it may have only been two episodes. We did three or
We
four. If
can
you go
talk.
back,
Yes. Stop talking. Yes. Yes. I
it was a
will. I don't like rewatching stuff. And I told you about this before we started recording. Over not recording. We're going live 2 hours, almost hour and
after we
45
said we were
minutes.
only gonna go an hour.
Yeah, and I knew that was a lie. And I started drinking, so I knew that was gonna be a lie. But I I told you I was gonna rewatch the movie on Friday, but I
Yes.
didn't want to because of um it would the movie's long as hell. That's one of my biggest downsides, that the movie's too long. And I'm again, that third act really bothered me. Why are they on a boat? I'm not gonna bring it up again. But
On a boat. On a boat.
I'm on a boat. No, not that. No, I'd rather have Lonely Island boat than God forsaken Wakandan vibranium boat in the middle of the damn water. So dumb. But I don't like rewatching stuff. Like Ant-Man, right now, when I watched it a couple days ago, I hadn't seen that movie in years. And I rewatched it. I'm like, this movie's fun. I would rewatch Loki, at least the last couple episodes, the ones we didn't do with Lunch Break Hot Take. Lunch Break Hot
But if
Take,
you know what's crazy though? When now with the
especially
mindset
that
we have,
finale. I rewatched that
yeah.
finale in a heartbeat.
But now with the mindset we have and what we know happens and everything like that, rewatching it, the clues. Like, did you see the breakdown? Of someone broke down the room of when they're there to see what's his
He
name
Who
again? The
Remains.
King, but yeah, who remains.
Uh-huh.
There's like an Iron Man helmet. There's a thing.
Oh.
There on the other corner. There's a an equation, and it looks like the Spider-Man equation of how he trapped Doctor Strange. Um,
Oh.
then there's
No.
obviously
I
yeah,
didn't
and
see
then there's
this.
obviously the part where He Who Remains. Remember where he does the thing and he's like, "Oh, the threshold's been broken." Now we all assume that was from No Way Home, No Way Out, right?
Like it was like No Way Home, and it was like a
Doctor
couple things.
Strange and
But
everything. But what if it's Ant Man and Quantum Mania?
oh snap. See, no, I don't want to, because like I play this game. Every time I talk about Marvel, I get caught up in the, oh hey, let's speculate, let's try and guess what
Yeah.
Marvel's doing next. If we could go back and rewatch the video we did on the trailer for this movie, I want to know how much we got wrong.
Oh, probably all of it.
Probably all of it.
Because I know
Like,
Spider Man. I know we were both saying Doctor Doom. We were wrong about
we
that.
we both thought Doctor Doom would be in this, and for the movie's benefit, I'm glad Doctor Doom wasn't in
Yeah.
it. But still, my goofy ass is like, we're gonna get a Latveria reference. No, we didn't, and I'm glad we didn't. Namor was more than enough,
Yeah.
and like anything Doctor Doom related would have taken away from Namor, and I was just happy with what we got. We got Talocan. We don't need anything else. We have all these Latinos, all these Latino actors and all these Hispanic actors in the MCU. Suge, they showed the Spaniard colonization of what is now Mexico
Yeah.
in this movie. They showed that.
Yucatan. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. That was my favorite sequence of the movie, was Namor telling Shuri about where he came from. And
He was just
excuse
badass when
me,
he was flying through that air, man. When the kid did it, I was like, oh, that's dope. But when he started
Namor
fighting, I was like, oh,
Namor is You kept calling him a villain. I don't like that. Like I don't think he
He
is.
did some he did some villainous stuff. Him and his people did some villainous stuff because they were murking Wakandans, murking them.
They intruded on his space. He told Ramon.
Wakanda's that oh, okay, yeah, you're right. You know, no, that one, yes.
He
When they
told
were in the
Ramonda,
restaurant,
"Yo, don't go in the water. I will go get you." And Nakia was like, "Oh, let me shoot the person underwater and kill them." And then was like, "All right, y'all are boned. Let me."
when he floated down into that shark's mouth thing, and that was dope too. How they used the animals, like
There
when the
were
whales,
killer whales in Boston, Massachusetts.
yeah, and they were flipping the telecons onto the bridge, like that was
Yes,
dope. That was
there
kind
were
of dope.
there were whales, dog. Whales. Like they used the whales to transport them water grenades into that stupid Wakandan boat. I'm like, y'all deserve this shit. Y'all took a boat to the damn water and used it. I'm like, why take a boat into the water? And they know they have these grenades. I'm not again. I said I wouldn't bring it up, and I did.
But
Yes,
when he
Justin.
floats
He's
down,
more of an antagonist. He is totally an antagonist of the movie.
oh, absolutely,
He's
yeah.
not a villain. He's not. Because if you were him, would you not do the same thing?
Well, he didn't have to murk Riri, and we really didn't get to talk about Riri, so I
Oh,
do want
let's
to
talk
get to
about
her now.
Riri. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about Riri real quick. Now I thought her character was good. I really did. I thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The suit, people are complaining, it looks like Beetleborg, and all. I love the suit.
She looks like the Red Ranger, dog.
Yeah, no, it looked like the Beetleborg. Have you not seen the Beetleborgs?
The what? The
Hold up.
Beetle boy. Hold
Yeah,
up.
let me show it to you. I'll look it up.
The
Hold
Beetle.
up. I got
Here,
it.
let me. Here, while you're looking that up, I love Riri. I thought she was great. My boy Matt Thomas in the chat. He had texted me when he had seen it. He went to the critic screening a couple days before it went public, and he told me, he said, the one thing I'm gonna tell you about this movie is that Riri has that, I think he said, and I quote, on that Chi-Town swagger. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I'm like, what does that mean? And I see the movie, and she's from Chicago. I'm not the biggest Riri Williams stan. I don't know too much about the character. If she's from Chicago in the books, I might have to do some homework. Because I love the Chicago flag in the back. She was talking about going to Chicago Bulls games with Shuri, and she was just full of attitude. And I loved her. I thought she was fantastic. The one thing that was wrong with her character is that the movie forgot about her. She was the reason Namor wanted, like, he's like, yo, bring me the scientist. I'm gonna kill a scientist so my people can be protected.
Yeah,
And then Namor forgot about her.
he had a chance to murk her right there
She,
well, he thought he did. I don't know. I get
yo,
what you're saying.
the movie forgot about her. She was the MacGuffin of the movie, and Namor's like, no, I'm not gonna worry about the scientist anymore. I'm just gonna worry about Wakanda. Like, dog, she's right there, and she was fighting him at one point. She helped assist in weakening him
Oh,
for
when she came
Shuri.
over, when she yeah. So here's the big bag Beetleborgs. Okay,
Yeah, she
that
does look like one of them shits.
that was the '90s cartoon.
I thought she looked like the
Similar,
Red Ranger.
eh, kind of.
She
I
looked like a
like the
Power
suit though.
Ranger.
I like the suit though.
So do I.
But also too, people were like
She just looks like a
complaining.
Power Ranger.
Yeah, but if you think about it, when Iron Man made the first suit, the Mach One, it was all hunky and whatever. And it wasn't until he got to the to Endgame and everything where that suit looked sleek. It looked
It was like the
and she
nanotech and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and you got to remember too, she's only 19, so she's just learning. Like Tony was doing this at 30 something.
He was an old
Like
ass man.
yeah, Riri's 19, so the suit is gonna get better as she builds it, and I think that's what the Ironheart is gonna go. Uh, what a oh yeah she they were at MIT. Would a Ned and MJ cameo at MIT be too distracting? Oof.
Oh shit.
In Ironheart, no. In Ironheart, no. I think they should bring her up in Ironheart.
That would, a cameo
Yeah,
would not be
you
too
yeah,
distracting. No.
In this movie, it would have been.
Oh, in this movie, yes. In the show, a
In the show, I think it's
cameo.
yeah.
One episode, one scene. That's it.
Like she
That's all I
bumps,
need.
she bumps, she bumps into somebody, and it's freaking Ned.
Yeah, or MJ. I think that'd
Yeah,
be sweet. Just something like that. They don't need to be in the show. They don't need to be friends with Riri. They just show like a mutual respect, so us fans can be like, yeah, they like each other, and then they go their separate ways.
yeah,
That's a great question, Justin. I didn't even think of that.
yeah. I
But
that would be fun.
I don't like how the movie kind of forgot about her for a while. She was the inciting thing. They went to America for her to go protect her from the underwater blue people, and Namor's like, "Yo, just let me kill the scientist for the sake of my people." She built this machine at 15 or whatever age, right? 16, 17, 18, whatever. She's a teenager. She built this machine that detects vibranium through multiple different substances. They're using it to find vibranium in the Atlantic Ocean. Namor felt threatened because that's exactly what would have happened. They would have, and then boom, goes. I'm not going to go and tread on the whole colonization thing again. But he felt threatened by her. And that was a great way to bring her into the movie. It didn't feel
Yes, I like the
forced.
way I like the
It
way they
didn't
did
feel
it. Not
forced.
not like with Valentina, but I will
And I
say
like how
though,
she played. She didn't know that her shit was being used for stuff like that. I like that.
yeah, but I will say this: she did. Um, he did say like she could stay in Telecon until they got. But I think is when he told Shuri like, "Hey, we're gonna burn the world, and then I'll give her back to you."
He was in the killer regard. Dog, let's be real. Especially
See,
with how
that's
he was.
villain. That's a villain, Chris. If he's gonna kill somebody, it's a
Dog, he felt threatened by her.
villain.
If if someone built a contraption that threatened you and your family, dog, and you had the power to do something about it, you wouldn't do it.
Oh, I would.
All
I
right.
wouldn't kill them, but I would kill
Justified.
somebody.
Justified. Immediately justified.
But I wouldn't kill
And he
somebody.
didn't know what she was capable of doing. All he knew was that there's a scientist that built this machine. I want the scientist. And it just happened to meet this 19-year-old black girl from Chicago who didn't know what the hell her machine was being used for.
Yeah.
She just built it, and it's now being used by the CIA to get vibranium for American use, to build to build weapons of mass destruction. So Riri just she was just like a victim of circumstance. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't her idea to go mine the vibranium out of the ocean. She just built the machine that did it. It's like Tony, right? Tony was like Tony Stark when he was like building all these weapons for the military, but then he saw what the military was doing with his weapons. He's like, "No, I'm good.
Yeah. No, no,
I'm
I,
good."
I I agree with you. I agree with you, but still, Namor kind of villainous shit he did. Let me
Nah,
kill some kid.
no, I don't think so.
um. So
But the movie forgot about Riri,
it did.
and there's
I agree with
one
you.
shot. There's a shot when they're all on the boat still, and all the not the Atlanteans, the people from Talocan, they were like, there was like the 10 Wakandans left, and they're all being like forced into the one corner before Namor and Shuri showed up. And it was blatant. Like the CGI for Ironheart looked, or who will become Ironheart, looked very, she stuck out like a
Yeah.
sore thumb. And I'm like, but again, I'm not going to blame Dominique Thorne because she was great. And I cannot wait to see her lead her own show. I can't,
Yeah, I
I
want
think
to
it's
see. I am excited for Ironheart, but I'm also excited for Armor Wars now, because
that too.
Armor Wars looks like it's gonna be that of you trying to steal her tech for the government, because we no longer have Tony Stark,
And we know it's a
and
movie. It's a movie
and
now.
we know that Rhodey, he's not gonna give up his tech. Like here, go look at it. You know, look at it,
Yeah,
and
he's War
you know,
Machine, dog. Yeah.
yeah, he's not going to do that. So I think that's what this show is going to, or the movie is going to be, is where they're trying to get Riri, and then all the people that have armor, Ironheart, you know, Rhodey. Who else could there be? Do we get
Um,
Whiplash in that movie? That'd be
no,
funny.
I'll do you one better. We're gonna see Justin Hammer in that movie, dog.
I think we'll get Justin Hammer.
Sam Rockwell. It's he's due for his Marvel return.
Yeah,
He's
no,
past
I agree.
due.
I agree with you.
I can't
So yeah,
wait to see Sam Rockwell again. I really hope if he's not in that movie, I consider it a disappointment.
we'll see. We'll be able to talk about it. So Chris, we said 1 hour. We did two. Like,
We did too.
so I think we're gonna cut it there. We are. I'm gonna. Me and Chris are gonna try to get together more often, talk more
Hmm.
stuff like this. If you
Yeah,
want to see that, put it in the comments. Obviously, Chris has an amazing thought process, amazing mind for Marvel movies,
you're too good
nerd
to me, dog.
stuff, and I'm hopefully I'm gonna get him on some sports shows too. So make
Happily.
sure to comment, like, subscribe, share this video if you liked it. Let us know what you thought. Did you think something different? What are your thoughts? Let us know.
If you
Chris,
think I'm a
Anthony,
stupid ass, let us know in the
nobody
comments.
thinks that. Nobody thinks that.
If you think me talking about Wakandan boats for 20 minutes was too much,
You
then
did.
you let
Chris did
us
not like
know.
those boats. Chris
I
did not
it
like
was
those.
stupid. Okay. But you can find me and my stupid ass on Twitter, right here at the letter C Anthony Lopez. You can follow me on Instagram at the letter C underscore Anthony Lopez. You can find me a lot of the time on Flick and Reel, FLICK dash letter N dash REEL. I do reactions and I do a lot of videos like this over there if you want to come check me out. And I literally share everything I do on Twitter. So just follow me there at the letter C Anthony Lopez. I pop up on Suge's channel. I'm on Flick and Reel. And I'll be on whoever's channel if they ask me nicely. So yeah. C Anthony Lopez, Suge, you're the fucking man. I
No, you're
told
the
you,
man.
I told you I didn't want to be in front of my computer all night. And
You're
two
in
hours
front of your.
later, and the sad part is, um, I could have kept going. Like,
Oh, we
like
could. We know we
we,
definitely could keep going. I for 100% we could keep going, but
I'm looking at my wine bottle. I still have some left, and I could have kept going, but it's a good idea to stop. But Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I sounded like I'm very hard on it, and I don't want to give off that vibe. I thought the movie was gorgeous, in certain pockets. The performances were great. My issues were really with the story and the script. But for the most part, it did what I wanted it to do. And Namor, I really hope he isn't just a dighead for the entire time he's in Marvel. He can do cool stuff. Let's utilize him properly.
yeah, and messing with other people's wives. He did that in the comic books. Sue Storm.
Namor and the Fantastic Four, they go way back. But like, if you
He looks
see Tenoch Huerta, like, you telling me you're
coming out
not
coming out of the water like that.
with the, my man Dan Bettenhausen, he said in one of his reviews that he couldn't stop like looking at Tenoch Huerta's thighs, and I'm like, I agree. They had him in them little shorts too, dog. Come on, who's not attracted? If you're not attracted to Tenoch Huerta, let us know in the comments why you're not. For the record,
Because he's dripping in vibranium.
he was dripping in vibranium, raw vibranium. So that's the crazy part.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that
was
dude
good.
was crazy,
That
crazy
was
as hell.
good. Yeah. So make sure follow everything that Chris is at. He does great tweets and he talks really good. Obviously, you see that right here. You can find me at Suge Knight 323 on TikTok and Twitter. Suge Knight 123 on Twitch, where I do a lot of video gaming when I can. And then obviously, like I said, Tuesdays you will find me on a Steel Conspiracy talking Ravens and Steelers. I'm gonna be doing some more stuff, uh, trying to get some stuff on this channel. If you have ideas or you want me to react to certain things, leave it in the comments, and I'll try to do that for you. Chris, it is always a pleasure talking Marvel movies with
Likewise,
you.
dog.
Always just talking to you, man. It's always great. We always say an
Likewise.
hour, 45 minutes, whatever, and we end up going 2, 3 hours.
2 hours on a Sunday.
Right? And we both got to be up early for work tomorrow. It is what it is. But I always enjoy talking to you and getting to
Likewise.
get your thoughts on everything. Um, thank you for coming, man. Thank you for everybody who was in the chat. Justin, Square, Lunch Break Hot Take, Matt, Matthew Thomas, Brodney, Hendo Henderson from the Ravens Ungatekeepers, Mr. J, if you were in here, anybody else that was lurking. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you all. Let us know what you think in the comments again, and we will talk to you later. Have a great night.
You just shook up the world.